What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Week 4 roster update show. Talking about the biggest risers and fallers for my real 2018 roster, the number one community roster for Madden 18 on Xbox One. So we got a lot of movement this week. Let's talk about what we saw from Week 4 of the NFL season. So starting with our stars of the week, we got Marshon Lattimore, proving why he was the number one drafted corner in a very deep class of corners. So Marshon Lattimore going from 78 to an 81, the highest rated rookie corner, playing real well. And another rookie corner is a star of the week. He was the AFC Rookie of the Month, and it's Tre'Davious White. He's already been moving up. He started at 73 in my preseason roster, but 79 now. He gets a +3 this week. Has been a huge part of the Bills' success this year, the Bills' surprising success this year. And we'll talk about a group of Bills moving up in a minute here. And then our last star of the week, DeForest Buckner, making plays for a 49ers team that people probably aren't watching, but DeForest Buckner has been impacting almost every single play, if not every single play. Was a highly drafted prospect last year and starting to play hot right now. Going to be a big piece of that team when they do start to click. Solomon Thomas, by the way, also finally had a big game, so we'll keep an eye on him. And then let's talk about the duds of the week. We got Adrian Peterson, -3. Not really a surprise here. No fantasy football players would drop him even more than that. I think you still have to consider the fact that this is a terrible scheme fit for him. I think he would be a little more successful in a lot of other teams, but really showing that he is not a versatile running back at this point. So from 85 to an 82 for Adrian. And then Jay Cutler, he moved up one after week 1, and now he's starting to look kind of like the Jay Cutler that retired. I'm not going to totally rule it out. He is still a 74, which makes him a starting caliber quarterback, but we got to see him turn this around, because based on his last 2 weeks, he's been playing like a replacement level quarterback, like a backup guy. We might start to get Matt Moore talks, but I do think, their first home game this week against the Titans, he just might turn it around here. So let's move on and run through all the risers this week. Like I said, we got a lot of guys rising. So for the Saints, we got Alvin Kamara going up +2. Kamara, actually, really the guy that's the best fit of these guys for this offense, and he's playing real well. And then also rising for the Saints, we talked about Marshon Lattimore, but Ken Crawley gets a +2 this week. He's been making some plays, had a nice interception last week. For the Jaguars, Miles Jack moving up yet again. He keeps rising this year. He is a new man out there. He's flying around the field, making plays, playing smart, and even creating big plays as well. There's a prospect that I loved coming out of college and definitely seems healthy and playing at a real high level right now. He's probably going to continue to rise as the season goes on. We got Coney Ely getting a +2. He's finding his role with this Jets team after getting released by the Patriots. And then the Texans having that huge win this week. I picked them to win this division, and Deshaun Watson getting +1 this week, and the J.J. Watt getting +1. He's another big week away from getting back to 99. I think he's probably going to get there. It'd probably be safe to do it anyway, but coming off a major injury, we'll just give it one more week before he becomes a 99 again. And then Andre Howell also moving up at the safety position. But then just coming back to Deshaun Watson, really impressed with what I've seen from him. He needs to hone in some big, stupid decisions that haven't resulted in what you might call mistakes. The defenses haven't capitalized on him throwing the ball when he probably shouldn't. But that's getting pretty nitpicky. He's been very awesome. Looks really composed back there. And so now we are going to talk about the Bills, all the guys rising for this team. Eddie Yarbrough has kind of come out of nowhere and been an impact on this defense. He goes up +5 actually this week. And then Ramon Humber, linebacker type, really seems to be in the backfield all the time, especially in that Falcons game. So he gets a +2. We already talked about Tre'Davious White, but E.J. Gaines playing pretty well himself. This whole secondary really playing at a high level. Jordan Poyer gets a +1, as well as Micah Hyde getting a +1. And then we got Bo Allen getting a +1, was really dominant against the Chargers. Granted, a poor interior line, but Bo Allen playing pretty well with Fletcher Cox not playing. And then out of that same game, actually, we've got a cornerback, Trevor Williams, And he's been kind of on and off this team, but definitely solidified now as the starting corner opposite of Casey Hayward, who also had a big week, by the way, doesn't move. But Trevor Williams creeps into that starting caliber level of cornerback. If you remember from my flagship video, the different tiers. If you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend checking that out. For the Lions, Anthony Zettel moving up yet again. Had a big week against the Vikings this week as kind of the starting D-end opposite of Ansah now. For the Cardinals, Tyvon Branch has been playing at a really high level. And just a little side tangent here about the way Madden does these things, does this player management menu. It's really messed up. It's a kind of an outdated way of doing especially the secondary and just the defense in general. For example, Tyrann Mathieu is not a free safety. He's kind of a nickel corner. But if I make him a corner, he's just going to start opposite of Patrick Peterson as the outside corner, which he doesn't do. He plays nickel. And then coming back to the safeties, like Tyvon Branch, he's been playing that hybrid safety linebacker role. Antoine Bethea, more of the free safety. Just the safeties in general, it's very outdated. Maybe 6 years ago, free safety, strong safety was more straightforward as your left and right safety. But man, it's hard to edit these rosters the way they really narrow down the way you can lay these guys out. And so anyway, that's the end of that tangent. We got another safety going up. Justin Simmons of the Broncos. They let TJ Ward go to see what Simmons could offer, and it's paying off. He's making plays. Obviously, the big interception against Amari Cooper. So yes, his jumping does go up to, I believe, from 90 to 94. But he's a guy that's really going to have the opportunity to turn into a star behind this defense. So excited to see what he can do the rest of the year. For the Colts, Jacoby Brissett going up +2. I believe it was Kevin Clark of The Ringer that said this. He's not good, but he's not as bad as we thought he is. So I definitely agree with that. He definitely looks serviceable. There might be a future there for Jacoby Brissett. Probably not in Indianapolis, though, with Andrew Luck practicing again this week. And then also moving up for this Colts team is going to be Matthias Farley, a safety that's been making plays, been starting, and he was rated pretty low. So we'll keep an eye if he can keep it up. And also out of that Seahawks game, a lot of movement here. We'll talk about these running backs even more in the fallers section. But J.D. McKissick moving up was basically coming out of nowhere. So from 65 to 69, good receiving skills out of the backfield. For the Steelers, we had to create Mike Hilton, second-year corner. He's been a nickel corner, been playing good run defense, good pass rushing corner, just a good general nickel corner in general. So we create him at 70 overall. For the Ravens, Alex Collins goes up +3. His stats were nice, and he's getting the carries over Terrence West, but I want to see more. I'm not particularly impressed with what I've seen from him. It's been mostly statistics-oriented, which a lot of you know I mostly stay away from stats for these raising and falling. It's mostly film that I'm interested in. For the Cowboys, we've got safety here, Xavier Woods, a rookie out of La Tech, really good cover safety, plays a little bit of nickel corner as well, but definitely a guy that could continue to raise here in the next few weeks. And then our last two are coming out of the Redskins game, and every week it feels we're raising someone out of this front seven. And Matthew Ioannidis, who's been going up pretty much every week, a big jumper this week, +2, moves over to D-end as well, more accurate to his position. But he's definitely playing at a very high level, might continue to rise. And then Jonathan Allen gets a +1 as well. He's playing great. These two guys have been a game changer for this defense that had a pretty poor defensive line last year. Now it is one of the better ones, at least right now. And they're young too, which is pretty exciting. So let's wrap up with the rest of the fallers from the week. With the Bengals, we've got Jake Fisher, the right tackle. He's going down 2. We raised him 1 after week 1, but ever since that week, he's really been struggling along with the rest of this offensive line. But, we thought he might have been a bright spot, and it does not seem so. In Cleveland, Kenny Britt is just awful, man. He can't catch a football. He can't create any separation. That contract looks awful. And Cleveland just can't get anything going this year. And for the Titans, I had some questions actually about Jack Conklin. I didn't think he deserved the All-Pro bid last year. And honestly, a lot of Titans fans that I've actually talked to thought that as well. And he's not playing very well this year. A second-year right tackle, first-round pick last year. It's not that he's been bad. He's been good, but he hasn't been a strength for that offensive line like he supposedly was last year, although I think it's pretty on par with what we saw from him on film last year. So just moving down 1 this week. For the Eagles, Jordan Hicks moving down 2. He had been kind of raised in the preseason based on expectations that he would sort of break out this year, and he has not to this point. He's been average at best at the middle linebacker position. That Eagles defense in general needs to get healthy. They're not clicking quite like I thought they might. But they are 3-1, my team to win my pick to win that division. And then Brandon Mebane going down 3 this week. Not making an impact for that Chargers team. He's getting up there in age, so possibly just play falling off because of age. And then Eric Ebron falling 2 again, and he was a faller last week. And I tell you what, Darren Fells outsnapped Eric Ebron 3-1. They do not seem to want to use him. He can't catch the ball, and he's not a blocker, so what is he at this point? And is he going to continue to fall, and is he going to be one of the bigger Detroit busts in their franchise history? Like, it is not looking very good for Eric Ebron right now. Luckily, that team has been pretty good, so maybe they can turn it around for him, but I don't know. There's nothing that I'm seeing that would indicate that. And then let's talk about these running backs for the Seahawks. So Eddie Lacy staying put, but Thomas Rawls a healthy scratch last week, and that is a huge red flag. So he goes down -4 without even seeing the field. I mean, healthy scratch, that means we don't need you. You can just take the pads off and watch this week. So Thomas Rawls moving way down. I think he's still like an 82 in the vanilla roster. So I'm curious to see what Madden does with Thomas Rawls, but he's definitely avalanching and snowballing down the rankings right now. But also moving down is CJ Procise. I have really stuck my neck out for Procise, but he can't get on the field, can't stay healthy, can't play healthy, whatever it is. He's not the starter here, so I think it's Eddie Lacy. If we're talking fantasy here, I actually picked up Eddie Lacy, and I think it's going to be McKissick and Lacy for the next few weeks until it sorts itself out. And then our last player here, we got Terrence West moving down 2. He really was not used much last week. Could have just been game flow, but Alex Collins got most of the carries, so they seem to be relatively done with Terrence West, so he goes down -2. So that is it, folks. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there are players on your team that you think I missed or I'm not giving enough respect to. Do consider giving the video a like and subscribing if you enjoy the content. So cheers, everyone. We'll see you for the next one.